morning and welcome to First Christian Church. We have a few announcements we'd like to share with you today. Thank you to everyone who came to the church workday here at FCC yesterday. Your help was so appreciated. We invite you to join us for our Wednesday evening Bible studies called Family Ties this week. Our meal will be at 6 p.m. with studies for all ages immediately following. On the menu this week, lasagna. We'll be having both the traditional lasagna as well as chicken Alfredo. Next week is Panther Pride Sunday. We have invited the JCHS Color Guard as well as the JCHS basketball teams. We will have a breakfast in their honor at 9:45 and we'll be glad to have them worship with us at the 10:45 worship service. If you would like to attend one of the annual fundraising dinners at Hilltop Christian Camp, please see Anthony Sweeney to get signed up. The dinners are going to be held this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. December is quickly approaching and there are lots of festivities going on, so please check out all the items that we have listed in your bulletin. And don't forget that we keep our church website, Facebook page, and Twitter filled with the latest and greatest happenings here at First Christian Church. That's it for our announcements this week. Have a great day.
I can't believe it's morning already. I know I should be excited. I know this is a great opportunity, but I'm a little scared. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. Building relationships with these guys is hard. It's not easy to get them to trust me. Lord, what could I have done differently? Is there something I could have said or a chance I should have taken? I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to help, to really make a difference in someone's life. But perhaps it's my fault. Maybe I'm getting in the way. At times, I just don't know what to say. I get tongue-tied. I must sound like an idiot. Lord, I understand. This is my mission field. You created me to work with my hands, and I love to do that, and I'm good at that. But I want to do more. I want to be your hands. Use me, Lord. This is the place you want me to be. This is my calling. I know that people are watching me. Lord, help me. Help me to be bold for you. I need your guidance and your wisdom. I'm just a regular guy. I need you to show me what to do. Place one person in my life today who is in need of you. And then help me. Help me rise to the occasion. Give me your strength, God. I am your servant. Let me be a witness today, without hesitation or fear. Amen.
Work as you worship as you work. And I wanted to share that with you this morning because what I think is so important for us to realize is we are always in an opportunity to witness. We are always in an opportunity to reach out and to make a difference. We just celebrated Thanksgiving. We all did. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays because it's an opportunity to be thankful. And it helps us to revisit this whole idea, this whole plan of being thankful and being appreciative for what God has blessed us with. But how many times do we wake up one morning and decide today's going to be different? Today I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to be the witness. I'm going to be the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life. This past Thanksgiving was special to Christy and I because it was Anderson's first Thanksgiving. And we knew that when we had Anderson in February that Christmas and Thanksgiving would be a little bit more interesting than having a newborn during that time just because he's far more active and becoming more and more active every day. And one thing about Anderson is he loves people. So we had our family get together and there was about 100 of us there at that location. And he was hamming it up to everyone, just smiling and giggling and laughing and just having a grand old time. I had no idea who the kid was. Of course, he was getting passed on from various people and everybody was playing with him and he was brightening everybody's day. I told Christy it reminded me of Where's Waldo every time I had to go look and find where he was because I had to look at the picture of all those people and try to figure out who had him. But he just had a ball. And people around him did with his smile and his laughing and him just, he really, really enjoyed it. Far more than what I think we anticipated how much he would enjoy it. But it just goes to show that it is a celebration. And now that Thanksgiving's out of the way, we are preparing for the next celebration. The next celebration being Christmas. Now I know society and those around us, they'll start preparing for Christmas like during the summer or during the spring or fall. But for me, I get more in this Christmas mindset after Thanksgiving. Because I enjoy Thanksgiving. I enjoy celebrating that holiday. Just as we should enjoy celebrating Christmas. But before we celebrate Christmas, today's sermon is not a Christmas sermon. Today's sermon is setting up for our study on Christmas. Today's sermon is to prepare us and to put us in the right mind on how we should celebrate the birth of our Son. In order to do that, we have to know where we are with God, where we are with Christ. We need to make this celebration genuine. We need to make it authentic. And we have to examine our hearts and put our faith in our trustworthy God. So I want to start today by asking, what is the heart of the follower, the heart of the believer? In Luke chapter 1, you can turn to that, Luke chapter 1, starting with verse 3. The first part of this is the heart of the follower. And we actually are going to talk about two different followers and what their story tells us and what their hearts, their desires tell us. And the first one is verses 3 through 4. It says this: "It also seemed good to me, since I have carefully investigated everything from very first, to write into you in orderly sequence, most honorable Theophilus, so that you may know the certainty of the things in which you have been instructed." So the first heart of the believer that I want to talk about today is Luke. Luke had a tremendous heart of the believer. Luke is the author of his book. Luke had this thirst for knowledge. And I think every believer, every follower, needs to have some sort of a thirst, a desire for knowledge. Luke's thirst for the truth was admirable. Luke was not your stereotypical author of a book of the Bible. For one, he was not Jewish. He was Gentile. He was of the Greek origin. He was a physician. And he became a historian. So this isn't exactly what Matthew, Mark, and John were first-hand eyewitness testimonies. This was someone who investigated the truth, who interviewed people, who dig deep down to find out what was the facts. He is the one gospel, as I said, that was not eyewitness, but he still relied heavily on those who were there. Luke is an excellent example of somebody who came in doing research, doing study, making sure that this Christianity thing was going to work and make sure that it was true. Now, why Jesus? Why Christianity? Well, there's a lot of interest among the Jews and among the Gentiles about this Jesus person. And there was a lot of people who were talking about him. And there was a lot of people who were writing their own works about this Jesus. And Luke just kind of wanted to clear the air. He kind of wanted to make sure that everyone knew what was factual. And kind of just putting to bed those things that were claimed that weren't true. So he went through and examined everybody. And he discovered the truth. And his gospel, he was going to present the truth. Quite frankly, I love that about Christianity. I love that about my Christianity. Christianity is not a faith that says close your eyes and believe. Ignore that everything around you and just believe because some guy up here said you should. Now, Christianity is a study. It's a check it out for yourself. The Bible, matter of fact, encourages us to investigate its claims thoroughly because we have to discover the conclusion about Jesus' life and why did it matter and why our death matters and how that links together with his death on the cross. Luke had a desire to know. As a medical doctor, this was so important because he was used to being thorough. And he used his skills of observation just as he would with his patient, as he would take a look at the symptoms. And then he would analyze the truth as he would with his patient, as he discovered what the symptoms were and what could be the cause. He did that as he studied and prepared for God's word here. And his diagnosis, as he would diagnose his patients, his diagnosis was simple. The gospel of Jesus Christ is true. You can read Luke's account of Jesus' life with confidence. That it was written by a clear thinker, someone who was not biased, but wanted to know the truth. For the heart of all of us believers, all of us followers, should be a thirst for knowledge. to know, not just to take someone's word for it, but to study and discover the word of Jesus Christ. Because as you study that, you will grow. You will grow in your own knowledge. You will grow in your own faith. And isn't it wonderful to put your faith in something that you know is fact? Now Luke does take a moment to thank someone. He thanks Theophilus, which means the one who loves God. And the reason why he thanks Theophilus is Theophilus was the man who was making it happen. He was the financier, if you will. In order for Luke to do all this research and to pursue this thirst of knowledge that he had, someone had to back him financially, and that was Theophilus. Theophilus backed him up financially, made sure he had everything he needed to continue his thirst for knowledge, to continue for the truth. And God worked through Theophilus, God worked through Luke to have what we have today, the book of Luke. Now Luke also introduces us to another follower, another believer who had a tremendous heart. In verses 5 through 6 it says this: In the days of King Herod of Judah, there was a priest of Abijah's division named Zechariah. His wife was from the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. Both were righteous in God's sight, living without blame according to all the commandments and requirements of the Lord. Zechariah and Elizabeth, and their heart of the follower, or their heart of a believer, was the simple fact that their faith wasn't just going through the motions. They weren't just in survival mode. And it's easy to do. We take a look at the week that we have upcoming, and we have a list of things that we would like to accomplish, and we have a list of other things that we want to see fixed, and then we have all these events to take care of, we have family members to take care of. It can be very busy. And it's easy for us to enter into this survival mode by just making it through each day. But we were called to more than that. Zechariah and Elizabeth didn't just go through the emotions. They backed up their outward compliance with inward change, with an inward obedience. Unlike the religious leaders that Jesus would later call hypocrites, Zechariah and Elizabeth did not stop by just obeying the law. They allowed God to change them. And they were upright in the sight of God. They had a tremendous amount of integrity. They were great people through and through. They were beautiful people through and through. Their heart of the believer was pursuing God. You see, Luke's heart of a follower was the fact that he had this thirst for knowledge, while they, on the other hand, had this desire, this pursuit of God. So where's our dedication? Where is our heart as a follower of Jesus Christ? Where is our thirst for knowledge? We need to desire God's word. We need to want it for ourselves and want it for our family. God's word transforms and changes lives forever. God's word makes families stronger. God's word grows the church. And we need to stop just going through the motions. We need to live our spiritual life with a reason, for a purpose, with intention. And we need to be constantly evaluating ourselves. We have to stop just going through the motions and staying in survival mode. Take your faith serious. And take it to the next level. God has a vision for your life. And all He's asking you is to follow that path, follow that road. Christy and I went to Louisville on Wednesday to visit with some friends, and on the way down it was pouring. And just pouring. If you've ever spent any time in Louisville, Gary knows this for his constant commute, but if you ever spend any time in Louisville, you know that they're always under construction. And when you add dark night with a bunch of rain and all the construction that's going on, it was a little nerve-wracking. But I'll tell you, there's one part of the vehicle that I've grown to appreciate, and I'm sure all of us appreciate. It's inexpensive. You can buy it most places. It's one of the easiest things to replace and fix. And that is a windshield wiper. How basic is that? You go to the store today, they're very economical. And it's a very small part of the vehicle. But you know what? When it's raining, I appreciate that windshield wiper. Because I can see my path. I can see where I'm going. Not to compare Jesus Christ to a windshield wiper. But Jesus does that for us. He clears the path so that we can see. And so that we can see clearly. Now, I'm just as guilty as the next person. Sometimes I want to make sure I get my money's worth out of that windshield wiper. And I leave it on longer than I should. And what happens, it starts to smear. And quite frankly, it doesn't do any good. And I have to go back and replace it again. Well, sometimes when we keep our distance from Christ, maybe church is not something we're going to, maybe praying is not something we're all about right now, and we just feel ourselves growing more further from Christ, it's like leaving that old windshield wiper on, and it smudges everything. And we can't see because we're not listening to Christ and how he's cleared the way for us. So please don't take this today and say the preacher compared Jesus to windshield wipers, but there's a lesson to be learned there. So the heart of a follower, when it is combined with God, then he has this amazing vision. He has this amazing plan. And when the heart of the follower meets the impossible God, or God of impossibilities, that's when something special can happen. And we find that in verses 7 through 10, where the impossibility comes up. There's an impossible situation. But anytime there's an impossibility, God becomes a God of possibilities. In verses 7 through 10 it says this, But they had no children because Elizabeth could not conceive. Both of them were well along in years when the division was on duty. He was serving as the priest before God. It happened that he was chosen by lot, according to the custom of the priesthood, to enter the sanctuary of the Lord and burn incense. At the hour of the incense, the whole assembly of the people were praying outside. God of impossibilities, and the God of impossibilities answers a prayer of the impossible. God answers prayer in his own way, in his own time. But he needs an impossible situation to really show us who he is. And we need to evaluate our faith as such. There's an impossible situation. Elizabeth could not have a child. And her and Zechariah had been praying for this for a significant period of time. But God would use this impossible situation, both with Elizabeth's age and her barrenness, to bring about the fulfillment of the prophecies concerning the Messiah. What impossibility has God shown you? Is there anything in your life right now that God has laid out for you, and you think to yourself, I know God's called me to this, but it's impossible. You use that word, it's impossible. What impossibility are you asking him to show you? And are you brave enough to ask? Joshua, when he was fighting the battle, he asked God to make the sun set still. And God did it. That may be a grander stage, but what impossibility in your life that you know God's leading for you to be a part of this solution, but in the back of your mind you think, this is impossible. It will never happen. Is your faith deep enough to ask the impossible? Maybe it's a loved one who's never even thought of Christ, and you know they need him desperately, but you just don't know if you're the one to ask. Ask God for the impossible. Maybe it's an illness that you've been diagnosed or family member has been diagnosed with. And you know, because you're listening to modern medicine and you're listening to everybody, and you think, it doesn't look good. Did you ask for the impossible? Is your faith deep enough? Are you brave enough to ask the impossible to God? What impossible situation in your life is God encouraging you to ask him to take care of? If you want your prayers answered, there's a couple things to keep in mind. You have to wait. I know we hate that. We hate waiting. We hate this idea that we actually have to be patient. That's a struggle for us. That's a frustration for us because we're not patient over everything. We live in a very instant society. But God wants to make a difference in your life. Be patient. He will answer your prayers in his own way and in his own time. I know it's hard because we're not very good at being patient. None of us are. But do not ignore the possibilities. Because what may seem impossible in your life, God makes possible. we have to have a reason to pursue God. Zachariah and Elizabeth had a reason to pursue God. And the reason to pursue God would become the reason to pray. Prayer is important. And I know a lot of people who struggle with prayer. But I have to tell you, if you're one of those individuals that just really struggle with prayer, I'm here to tell you this. I want to encourage you, if you will. This will help you. If you learn to pray for a reason, you have to have a reason to pray. If you're just praying because it's dinner time, that's what you do right before you eat. If you're just praying because it's nighttime, that's what you do before you go to bed, or it's in the morning, that's what you do when you wake up, then your prayer life is only going to go so far. But if you're praying for a reason, then your prayer life will take off. So what is your reason? Zachariah is able to go in and burn incense. And when he burned incense, and they would burn it twice a day, the smoke would go heavenward, and it was a symbol that there was somebody with serious prayer going on, because it was going heavenward. And a lot of people would just stop and pray. They didn't really know what they were praying for, but they knew that there was a reason for praying. What is your reason for praying? Keep in mind, you're talking to the creator of the universe. In every relationship that you've had, there has to be two-way communication. Prayer is our way to communicate back to God. Without it, we have a one-sided relationship. He's talking to us, but we're not listening. And one-sided relationships are always complicated, are never healthy, and will not last. So when you pray to God, pray for a reason. Share what's on your heart. Sometimes we just need to share with God what's on our heart and what we're thinking. Maybe it's concerns that we have. You know, life is filled with concerns. And you don't know how you're going to make it do. You don't know how this is going to come together. But you just pray that God will help you with your concerns. Maybe it's praises. Again, with Thanksgiving, it is a holiday to reflect and to think back on why we are thankful. Maybe that's what you need to lift up to God, is a prayer of thanksgiving. Maybe the thing that you're most concerned with is your own insecurities and what you constantly battle with. And maybe that's a reason for you to pray. But you need to have a reason for your prayer. You encourage praying on a continuing basis and praying on a daily basis. But make sure when you do pray, you have a reason for those prayers. There's an unknown Confederate soldier. We don't really know anything about him, obviously, but he wrote this prayer. I want to share it with you. I ask God for strength that I might achieve. I was made weak that I might learn humbly to obey. I ask God for help that I might do greater things. I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty that I might be wise. I asked for power that I might have praise of men. I was given weakness that I might feel the need of God. I asked for all things that I might enjoy life. I was given life that I might enjoy all things. I got nothing I asked for, but everything that I hoped for. Almost despite myself, my unspoken prayers were answered, and I am among all men most richly blessed. When the heart of the follower and the God of impossibilities come together, we have a divine vision. In Luke 1, 11 through 13, Zachariah and Elizabeth's divine vision is played out for them. An angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing to the right of the altar of incense. When Zachariah saw him, he was startled and was overcome with fear. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zachariah, because your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you will name him John." So the divine message is carried by, or divine vision is carried by divine messengers. The angels are spiritual beings who live in the presence of God and do His will. There's but two angels that are mentioned by name in Scripture, Michael and Gabriel. Gabriel's both mentioned in the New Testament and in the Old Testament. But this is not a dream. Zechariah did not have a dream. This was not just a vision. This was an angel who appeared to him in visible form, spoke with audible words to this priest. Zechariah was reaching to God. That's what the incense was all about. And going up to heaven and praying to God. And God, in a very dynamic way, answered back. And he would have a son. The one thing, the greatest desire that he had was to be a parent. And God would bless him with the opportunity to have a wonderful son, and it would come true. At the same time, the whole nation would be blessed by John. John the Baptizer, as we know him to be, the entire nation, the entire faith would be forever changed because of this man and his wife and their faith and their never giving up prayer. As they continue to pursue God, God would bless them with a son. And God would use that son in a mighty way to set the goal, to prepare the people to hear and to receive Jesus Christ as Lord. Guess what? Thousands of years later, we are asked for the same responsibility that John had, to prepare people for Christ. Inevitably, there's someone in your life, and chances are you just spend Thanksgiving with some of them. But inevitably, there's somebody in your life that needs Jesus Christ. And I'm here to tell you, we need to invite people to church, but we need to be very wise with it. And the best time to invite people to church is Christmas. Going to church during the holidays, going to church during the events, special events that go on, is the best time to reach people for God. We are His messengers. And what message are we going to share? Because while we're preparing for Christmas with various festivities and events that we have on our calendars, Christmas is still a faith-based holiday. I know we have Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all those things to give the Christmas shopping that big boost that they're hoping for. But Christmas is still a faith-based holiday. It's a faith-based celebration. And it's time for us, who are faith-based in ourselves, to celebrate this season. And to remind ourselves that just as Zechariah and Elizabeth knew, as long as they pursued God and had the heart of a believer, the God of the possibilities would set before them a vision, a divine vision. Just as Luke knew as he had this incredible thirst for knowledge, that God would come again as the God of the possibilities thousands of years later, and for the last 2,000 years. The Gospel of Luke has been what we use during the season. Let's make a difference. The family and loved ones that we have, let's make a difference. Our church family, let's thrive. We have a message to share and a message to live. This Christmas season, there are those who give and there are those who receive. And many of us, we're both. We're givers and we're receivers. And while I will always encourage people to be people of givers, sometimes we need to be receivers so that person who's doing the giving will be blessed. But when we talk about your spiritual walk, are you a giver? Are you willing to give and pursue God? Give out of your comfort zone and continue to pursue Him. Or are you just going to take? We have an awesome difference to make during this season. Family, friends that need the Lord, and we have an opportunity to share with them. Are we going to be takers or givers? And are we going to pursue God to know that we're going to make an incredible difference? As the musicians come forward, I would like to leave you with a quote from Vera Nazarene. It says this: "Sometimes reaching out and taking someone's hand is the beginning of a journey. At other times, it's allowing another to take yours." There's been a time in your life where you needed someone to step in and take your hand, and to guide you and to lead you. But there's also been a time in your life where God used you to be that person as well. As we gear up and as we celebrate this Christmas season, as we prepare for it, let's prepare our hearts and our minds for authentic worship, for authentic, genuine celebration, to celebrate the birth of our Savior as an opportunity to reach out and make a difference to those we love and care about. If you've never accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, make that decision today. If you're looking for a church family, we'd love to have you as part of our own. Again, make that decision today. But maybe you're just going through a time that you need some prayer. You can come up here and pray. I'd love to pray with you. You can stay where you are. As we enter into these final moments of worship, let's stand as we sing.